This video is focused on the topic of emails within the LitHold widget. We're going to do an overview of emails. They're essential to the LitHold widget. In fact, the whole widget really should be named Email Management or something along those lines, because really all it does is provide the ability to send emails, chain those emails, and do a lot of cool things with them. But at the end, the widget is almost entirely dedicated to email. So we're going to do an overview of email. We're going to talk about the different email types. We're going to talk about chaining email, attachments, and websites. There is a video dedicated to websites as well, so I'm just going to barely touch on that, but we will touch on it. So let's hop into the tool. All right, open up our LitHold widget again. Go to Create and Update Hold, and we're going to Emails. We've already opened a hold here. This is worth noting. We already have our demo hold open, and that is why there is information here. If we didn't, there would be no templates available. There'd be nothing here as well. Okay, let's talk about the different sections here. There are templates. What's a template? A template is just an email that is basically a base email from which you will build other emails. It's not available to send. You can see there's no check mark by it, but it represents, if you will, like I said, a base construction component from which you can build other emails and ultimately include them within holds. Once we've got our templates, we can turn them into actual emails. These are actual emails. We can see we have 4 available. We can click on any one of them in the navigation grid, and it will show you what those emails look like, who they're addressed to, what the contents of them are, and so on and so forth. You can delete them easily enough by just clicking delete. One thing that is worth noting is this checkbox. This checkbox indicates that that the email is included within this hold. So the video demo email is part of the hold that we currently have active. If we wanted to include another email, we could just click on that and it would include it, or click off of it and now it's out of it. Before that takes effect, we of course need to save, but when we do save, it will look to see which emails we want to include, and it will include those. So that's pretty simple stuff compared to what we're about to jump into. Let's talk about how we actually make an email. Again, actually still pretty straightforward. Let's call this one email video. Simple demo for email video. All right, and who do we want to send this to? We can send it to whoever we want. We can send it to a random email, tim@tim.com. We can send it to custodian groups we have included as part of this email, and we could go ahead and click that. We could send it to approval groups that we have as part of this email, as part of this LitHold. Or we can send it as just a simple test. When we're happy with the email, we can click on test and enter an email. The difference here is this will send it immediately. This will ignore the dynamics of the hold you're creating, and it will just go ahead and send this email, and you can see if you like the way it looks. So why don't we do that? Why don't we just go ahead and send this email and see how that comes out? And we're going to send it to AD Quincy Forensics at gmail.com. Okay, we click send, and that should send the email we've created here. So let's go into our email and make sure it's there. Demo email just arrived. Let's make sure this is the right one. It says just a demo approve as its subject. As its content, just a demo approve, and the subject is demo email. demo email. Perfect. And if we click in there, there's the attachment that we wanted, and so we're happy. Because if we come back here, we can say that, see, there's an attachment. All right, so that we just created and sent an email, easy peasy. Let's talk about some of these other options. Trigger. What's the trigger going to be? Is it going to be on the activation of the hold, on the approval of hold, or on a specific date? Let's choose date for now. It doesn't really matter. Actually, let's just stick with date. Okay, what type of email is it? This is very important, as I said in the overview video. There are 3 types of emails. There's approval, there's information, and there's acknowledgement. An approval email is the most important to understand because it only happens at one time during the hold. If you select an approval email, it will include in it a link, and then the recipients of that email will need to click on that link in order for the hold to move from the approval state to the active state. You can send an information email. That's just an email that's going to go out and tell them something. And then there's an acknowledgement email. The difference between an information email and an acknowledgement email is an acknowledgement email also contains a link. It's almost exactly like an approval email, only the difference being acknowledgement can happen regardless of the state of the lit hold. Approval only happens at the beginning of the lit hold. Once the lit hold is approved, if you create future approval emails, they will do nothing. They will never even get sent. Acknowledgement emails can keep going, can keep getting sent because they don't have the specific sort of time of being part of the approval phase, so they can just keep going. Okay, is an escalation email. Let's go ahead and click on that. That's probably the most interesting of the options here. What's an escalation email? An escalation email is an email that happens after another email. So this is what we talk about when we talk about chaining. An escalation email will happen after, in this case, you choose a parent. So in this case, the video demo email is our parent. It will only occur after the video demo email has occurred. And the reason for that is because let's say you send out an acknowledgement email that says you're under hold, right? And then you want to send a future email that says, hey, here's what we want you to do, but you only want to send that future email after the hold has been acknowledged. This is what you can use an escalation email for. Or you can use it for, hey, the guy isn't acknowledging, I want to go and escalate this. I want to send it, and it's more important, and I'm going to include managers or things like that. You can do all that kind of stuff. When you choose an escalation email, you obviously must choose a parent email because it's a chained email. It will not go again until the parent has sent. And you can do this indefinitely. You can have 5 different chains. You can have a parent email wrapped in parent, wrapped in parent, wrapped in parent, so that you could have, email 1, email 2, email 3, email 4, all sent in that pattern, in that order, and you achieve that through chaining. Okay, start date. Start date is important. You must choose a start date. It must be at least the time you want the email to start. If you choose nothing, it will default to the date you create the email. I'm just going to create the date before. And then the question is this recurring or not? If it's recurring, how often you want it to recur, once a day, twice a day, whatever. And when do you want it to end? Note that you cannot have a recurrence that happens more frequently than your hold is updated. So if you're recurring this once a day, but you're only having the hold checked on once, if you're recurring this once an hour, but you're only having the hold checked on once a day, it won't work. Of course, your only offer days. So change my analogy to you've got it updating daily, but your holds only were updated weekly, then effectively it will really only be sent weekly. Finally, we can save as template, we can send our test email, which we have already done. And we can do whatever we want in terms of creating emails. We can add attachments, we can remove attachments, we can do all sorts of stuff. So it's pretty powerful. Hopefully that is a reasonable enough overview. You can't hurt yourself with this widget. Create yourself a dummy email account and go nuts. Just send every possible variation you want and learn it and understand it, and then you'll be in a really good spot when you need to utilize it. It is very powerful though, so I really do encourage spending the time to learn it because there's a lot you can do with it, a lot more that goes well beyond just a hold. You could use it as a reminder system. You could use it as an alerting system. You can use it in all sorts of different mechanisms. Anyway, that's emails. Hopefully that was helpful and gives you enough confidence to start playing around. Thank you very much.